lovely good evening to you all today, the 8th of October 2023. To present Camnet Television main news, my name is Jeffrey Yambo. Our top stories in the news tonight: LUSAKA'S KAMWALA LURBUMA market risks being closed due to erratic water supply. PF challenged to carry out self-introspection before championing the holding of a national INDABA. Justice Minister MULAMBO HAIMBE says government is resolved to curb costly and lawful prosecutions. In international news, Ugandans turning banana waste into useful fibers. And in sports news, Copper Queens beat Angola by 3-1 at the COSAFA Championships. These are more stories coming up after the break.
That's a report I was given. Saying that was ati saying that bossy ati mzako muntu eka nitupumuleko please tulina banja knife spread patch abeni hambo konkera, because if I don't go to their doorsteps, the relation is a sira. Better vis-a-vis. Let me start dealing with this issue. Vis-a-vis. From a doorstep, head on.
At your doorstep. Time 11 hours to 12 hours every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. And repeats from 18 to 19 hours every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Charlie over there. You go.
Another news in detail. Restaurant owners in Kamwala's LURBUMA market have bemoaned the inconsistent water supply by the Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company, which has left businesses crippled. In September 2023, the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company announced a shutdown of the Iolanda 1 water treatment plant in Kafue, paving way for maintenance works, resulting in a 60-day water rationing in the capital city. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, one of the affected restaurant owners, Annie Nkandu, says her business, which depends on water both for cooking and usage in the toilet, in the market has been negatively impacted as people are rarely found in the facility due to the water problem. Kamwala Ward Councillor Mainda Simata says the shutdown of the 5,000 capacity Kamwala market will soon be inevitable in order to prevent disease outbreaks if the water crisis that has widely affected his ward and Lusaka city at large persists. More in the following report.
It is 3 weeks since the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company shut down the Iolanda 1 water treatment plant in Kafue to facilitate repairs on its 900mm steel pipeline which supplies Lusaka. To this effect, the water utility company has implemented a water rationing schedule due to reduce water supply in the city. However, some Lusaka LURBUMA market restaurant owners have cried foul over what they term lack of adherence to the schedule by the water utility company.
Kumbe muntu amene angabwere kugula nsima ilo manzi kulibe ikafika che 15 hours ikakwana che 15 hours bantu once bambotsoka kwa pesi yambilire toilet kulibe toilet manzi kulibe manje batuzambo kulisa bwana soto avutika mwana bankani yapu ya mani kwa tunamboona chabe manzi ya shota manzi ya shota socha muri nkondo muno 05 mfunga muri market mkani ya manzi ero mkani ya manzi 05 kapena matapako chezililo lokitaki manje ku restaurant
Kamwala Ward 5 Councillor Mainda Simata, speaking Sunday morning when he witnessed the delivery of emergency water to the market, expressed displeasure over the erratic water supply to the facility which houses more than 5,000 traders.
Water for the toilets has run out in both 4 toilets. And that prompted me to seek the services of the Lusaka City Council Fire Department just to come and review those tanks, because the situation that we were faced with was that if there was not going to be water in the next 1 hour, the market would have had to shut down. And that is a situation that we've never ever had. Because the schedule is not being followed by Lusaka Water and Sewage Company, we've been put in an awkward position where we have to look for other sources of water.
Mr. Smarter adds that the market risks closure if the erratic water supply is not addressed, hence calling on the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit DMMU to intervene.
I'm appealing to the DMMU to come on board and provide some kind of emergency relief to the local authority so that perhaps they can either procure or hire extra water bowsers to be taking water not just to markets and clinics but also to residential areas, KAMWALA South and other areas of Lusaka where people are faced with a very dire water situation.
For Camnet TV News, Hafias Kaptula, Lusaka.
Chama South Area Member of Parliament Davis Mungandu says the United Party for National Development Administration has continued on the trajectory of taking money closer to the people, as evidenced by the increased Constituency Development Fund in the 2024 national budget. In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Mungandu says the 2024 national budget has shown the government's commitment to working to reduce the cost of production and empower Zambians through economic activities that will lower the cost of living. Meanwhile, Civil Society for Poverty Reduction CSPR Executive Director Fides Tembatemba says the 2024 budget needs to see more increase in the social protection sector, taking into account the high poverty levels in the country. Ms. Tembatemba says the government must put in place practical solutions that will begin to mitigate hunger and poverty issues in the country. More in this report.
The Zambia Statistics Agency recently released the highlights of the 2022 poverty assessment of the country, which revealed that about 60% of the citizens are poor, up from 54% in 2015. With this review showing increased poverty levels in the country, the Civil Society for Poverty Reduction CSPR feels the 2024 national budget should have seen more increase in the social protection sector. Based on the hunger prevalence rate at the moment, CSPR Executive Director Fides Tembatemba says in the 2024 national budget, the government needed to have put in place practical solutions that will begin to mitigate hunger and poverty issues in the country.
Have been made, though they were in block, but I feel with the current statistics on poverty levels, I think we needed to see more increase in on the social protection sector, especially to do with insurance. Because with the increased poverty levels and hunger, trust me, and with the current primary health care, and also the CDF funding from 28 to 30.6, hoping it's going to help a great deal in terms of local economic development in our rural areas, but also infrastructure development, construction of roads, which is going to help in terms of marketing and also connectivity of some of the rural areas to urban areas.
Meanwhile, Chama South Area Member of Parliament Davis Mungandu says the ruling UPND has continued on the projection of taking money closer to the people, as evident from the increased Constituency Development Fund in the 2024 national budget.
Has continued the projection of taking money closer to the people. Take a look at the CDF. The CDF has yet again been increased from 28 to 36 million kwacha, meaning rural constituencies are on a transformational trajectory, and this is something that we should encourage. Not only that, he has also recognized the cries of many councillors. If you look at the amount of money that has been given to councils in order to actually facilitate and empower councillors, is something that the government, or indeed the New Dawn government, should be commended. In short, it is really a budget that has highlighted potential in terms of unlocking economic potential of this country. So it's something that Zambians should support. Another striking...
Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Justice Minister MULAMBO HAIMBE says government is doing everything possible to avoid a trend where the state continues to lose huge sums of money through compositions due to unfair prosecutions. In August this year, the state agreed to pay 10 United Party for National Development UPND members 1 million kwacha each as damages for false imprisonment and malicious prosecution on allegations that they were behind the burning of the Lusaka city market. Mr. HAIMBE tells Camnet News that the United Party for National Development is governing by the rule of law to curtail unfair prosecution. The Lusaka Central lawmaker underscored that they are keen to enhance democracy and good governance.
Debate the actual medium-term expenditure framework, the allocations to each particular sector. That we're going to see in the next couple of weeks and going forward until the end of this session. But for me, the key issue is that there is a continued commitment, as I mentioned earlier, to the rule of law and to law and order. I also note that there has been an increased allocation on the compensation fund, which has been growing steadily from the time that the new Dawn administration took over. From an initial allocation of 300 million in the first budget, second budget it was increased to 500 million. Now we have about 700 million that has been put aside to deal with compensation claims, which by and large are historical, which our colleagues in the previous administrations left for us to deal with, and that's a big positive for us as Minister of Justice. It's all about good governance. At the end of the day, that's why I said the emphasis is on good governance as well. From my perspective as Minister of Justice, if you have a conscientious government in place that does not allow the abuse of the civil liberties of its people, as we are doing, protecting those civil liberties, as we are doing, allowing for the democratic space to be enjoyed by everyone, as we are doing, then you are going to definitely see a reduction in those cases, and it actually is the position right now.
Political activist Dante Saunders has questioned the credibility of some opposition political parties championing calls to host a national INDABA. Mr. Saunders says it is unavoidable for the country to address a number of issues affecting citizens, but that some political parties, such as the Patriotic Front, PF, need introspection before joining such calls. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Saunders has also suggested that neutral persons or organizations call and host such an INDABA, as opposed to individuals he believes want to embarrass the ruling party. Recently, a group of 8 political parties penned an open letter to the president calling for an economic INDABA to address, among other issues, the country's cost of living and shrinking democratic space in the country. More in the following report.
Wednesday, October 4th, saw 8 opposition political parties petition President Hakainde Hichilema to call for an economic national INDABA to discuss the high cost of living, among other issues affecting Zambians. In somewhat a significant conglomeration of opposition political parties post-2021 general elections, the opposition political parties also expressed concerns on what they term shrinking democratic space as a result of increased arbitrary arrests, biased composition of Electoral Commission of Zambia ECZ, and several others.
Secretive commencement of the constitution-making process.
Government, on its part through Chief Spokesperson Cornelius Mwetwa, has rebuffed the consortium, urging it to reflect on genuineness of the call for dialogue. Now, political activist Dante Saunders has backed calls for a national INDABA, but questions the credibility of some opposition political parties championing the cause in terms of leadership and membership.
So there are many issues dealing with that. There are issues, for instance, how do we handle the situation to bring the cost of living down a bit in this country? That's a serious issue, yes. We should be sitting around the table and seeing how best we can do this. But I do not believe that PF, under its current leadership, can try to champion and call a dialogue when most of those people who are around there, because they've never had a convention yet, most of those people around there are answering cases of plunder.
Mr. Sandos has suggested that neutral individuals, organizations such as the church, should birth and oversee the hosting of the national INDABA.
But for some of these other parties, by name maybe they are making a lot of noise and you think that they are doing well. But on reality, on the ground, who are they representing? I think we need to look at the church. We need to look at the NGOs and get these people to organize this dialogue or this INDABA. Those are the people, that should chair this particular meeting. not people who want to embarrass the government of the day.
For Camnet TV News, Afya Kaptula, Lusaka.
Patriotic Front Lukasha area member of parliament George Chisanga has charged that the United Party for National Development UPND administration is not interested in undertaking people-centered constitutional reforms, citing the lack of a clear roadmap. Mr. Chisanga says the fact that nothing was allocated for the constitutional review process in the 2024 national budget is a sign that the current administration lacks a clear roadmap. He says without a definitive roadmap for constitutional reforms, the focus should shift towards the 2026 towards the 2026 general elections, potentially leaving little room for comprehensive, meaningful changes. Mr. Chisanga has emphasized that constitutional reforms are critical to protect the rights and aspirations of all Zambians.
We enact a new constitution to amend the current constitution. By now you should have seen some movement going. Even in this budget allocation, if you've heard, there's nothing allocated to any constitutional review process that's going to take place. But there have been overtures that they've been making to other stakeholders to participate in the constitutional review, but they've got no roadmap. They are not telling us what the content is going to be like. So I do not think that somebody must have expectation that UPND is going to introduce a constitutional review process anytime soon. It won't happen. If they will try to do it, they want to use shortcuts. Now, you can't use shortcuts to amend the constitution. Amending the constitution is very different from amending these ordinary laws that we've got. A quest for wider stakeholder consultation. I think for me, they would like to use a shortcut in amending the constitution. They have been speaking about certain clauses that according to them, are not controversial. If you heard even the president's speech when he came to open parliament, he spoke about the need for us to amend the constitution, for instance, to allow MPs to go back into the council. Those are minor amendments that are required. In the constitution making process, you must demonstrate that one, you are going to amend the constitution against the background of wide stakeholder consultation, and second, that you're going to have a process that is protected, both in terms of content and the procedure. We should have the roadmap by now, for instance, of where we're going to go with this constitution. You just don't begin to say, oh, let's amend the constitution without telling the people what is going to go into the constitution. So I do not think that they've got any incentive so far. They don't have any motivation to amend the constitution.
Kanyama Member of Parliament Monty Chinkoli says the 2024 Constituency Development Fund CDF utilization will focus on road, water and maternity annex infrastructure, which continues to remain a challenge. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Chinkoli says the previous CDF allocations had focused on police infrastructure, among others. Meanwhile, Mr. Chinkoli has welcomed the increase in CDF allocation from 28.3 million to 30.6 million kwacha in the 2024 national budget, stating that the figure gives the densely populated constituency extra money to spend. He adds that the budget also highlights the key economic infrastructure, such as roads and airports, which will spur economic growth in various sectors.
What I would need to see as proposed projects for 2024. The first is roads with their drainages. Second is water and sanitation. Third, it is maternity shelters for our mothers, maternity wings. So those are the three projects that I would want to see under the 2024 CDF. Police stations, I think we have got adequate police stations. The only thing that we need to do is to ensure that we fight that more police officers are brought on the ground so that they can occupy those police posts that we have around. And the issue of transport, and as you may be aware that anytime soon, when the processes are done, then I think our Kanyama police will receive a gift from the community. Under CDF, we are giving them a vehicle that they'll be using. And on top of that, the government has got also plans to supplement on that. Actually, in fact, the government is buying, but as CDF, as a community, we are supplementing what the government is doing. And this is how we know CDF is designed for.
Governance activist Josek Kunda has challenged the ruling United Party for National Development, UPND, to allow opposition political parties to operate freely in the country. In an interview with Camnet TV News, Mr. Kunda alleges that the UPND has begun to act like the Patriotic Front by blocking political opponents every time they seek to conduct a public rally. He says what transpired yesterday in Kitwe, where the Socialist Party were refused to hold a rally, is a clear indication of abuse of the Public Order Act. He says it is unfortunate that the Zambia police refused them and used the lack of manpower to help maintain law and order as an excuse.
The Socialist Party were scheduled to have a public rally in Kitwe, and the police have denied them an opportunity. This is a total misinterpretation of the Public Order Act that dictates that any institution or people that want to hold a public gathering ought to notify the Zambia police within 7 days. And there is nothing indicated in the Public Order Act that when a notice is given to the Zambia police, they are supposed to give a go-ahead in writing. They are simply supposed to be notified, that's all. However, what we are now seeing is a manipulation on the part of the ruling party. They've taken over everything. They've reduced the space of the freedom among the opposition, and at the same time, they've dominated the media houses, including the Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation. Hence, we regret to mention that the UPND government should sit down and reflect on their conduct, or else they are decampaigning themselves, and their chances of becoming a democratic party is shrinking, and they are depleting opportunities of being re-elected into office in 2026.
We'll take a break. We'll have more stories for you after the break.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Deborah, have you connected to the Wi-Fi on the bus? It's fast, it's amazing. I've just downloaded my books and I'm about to complete the series. It's nice, too.
No, I'm actually watching a reality show. He's about to propose. Oh, so sweet.
Make your trip seem short yet comfortable and safe when you use the UBZ luxurious fully air-conditioned coaches that come fitted with amazing onboard entertainment, passenger information services, coffee-making facilities and fridge for your hot and cold beverages, free and uninterrupted Wi-Fi for your gadgets, phone charging facilities, comfortable seats that recline to offer extra resting posture, safety seat belts, adjustable reading lights for each traveling client, and of course, clean flushing toilets for your convenience. So travel in luxury and safety with UBZ luxurious coaches. UBZ will always take you there.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the news. The Forum for African Women Educationalists, FAWEZA, has called on the Zambian government to focus on realizing the aspect of quality education following the abolishing of school fees. In the 2024 national budget, the government has allocated 27.3 billion kwacha toward the education sector, representing 15.4% of the 177.8 billion kwacha budget. Education is also among sectors that are benefiting through the increased Constituency Development Fund CDF component, which has been upscaled to 30.6 million kwacha in the next year's budget. Anfaweza Executive Director Kosten Kanchele insists that free education has come with the challenge of pupil-teacher ratio, shortages of desks and limited classrooms. Mr. Kanchele was however quick to acknowledge the strides that have been made through the Constituency Development Fund CDF to put up more classroom blocks and purchase desks.
They go to school, we have a few teachers, and the teacher-pupil ratio has increased from 1 to 70 to about 1 to 100 per teacher. So already quality there is compromised. The classroom spaces are also not enough because we have now more learners in school than the schools can accommodate. We also have issues of teaching and learning materials which are not enough. The desks also, we still have children who are sitting on the floor. We are just wondering how a child can learn sitting on the floor. And also the time they are spending at school, there is no feeding program. These schools, so children are hungry. But we are not saying that free education is bad. I think for starters it is good, let children be in school as we sort out these problems. We are concerned though that the gender parity index, which is at upper primary and secondary school level, is tilting towards the boys. We have more boys in school from upper primary up to secondary school level than girls. So our concern as Kaweza is how can we make sure that these girls who have gone back to school in lower grades remain in school, they perform in school and they complete their education.
The government has disclosed intentions to revise the Wildlife Act No. 13 of 2015 to, among other things, find better ways of resolving wildlife-human conflict in the country. Speaking with Camnet News, Minister of Tourism Rodney Sekumba says people are living too close to game management areas and national parks, thus making it conducive for wildlife-human conflict. He says the ministry will be looking at modalities of relocating people to other areas and compensating them to move away from game management areas.
We have not spent particular attention to sensitizing our communities out there. Yes, we are coming through troubled times. We're only 2 years in government, and the findings in what we've gotten to understand today is that there has been no coordination between government and those communities. Remember, these communities, they gave up their land so that they become national parks, so that they become game management areas. So it's important that we find them alternative options. What are they going to do other than being moved from a protected area? So in terms of human-wildlife conflict, we're looking at obviously amending our Wildlife Act number 13 of 2015. Ultimately, what we want to see is how best we can start consoling these particular communities. In as much as consoling them, we don't have that big resource envelope to be able to just be paying out people. But ultimately what we want to see is get those people out of that space so that they are not in conflict with these animals. They're in conflict with these animals because, one, they are in the park boundary. They are in an ecologically sensitive zone. Animals get there. When you plant your vegetables, you plant your crop, the animals will definitely come and get them. But what we want to see is we want to stop you from planting those vegetables and find you another sustainable business to do, not something that you'll be always be latching onto government. And that is something, the discussion that we're having with cooperating partners, with government through the Office of the Vice President, which obviously there's a section, there's a department which is called resettlement. We're trying to see how best we can relocate certain individuals and take them in a more stable and sustainable environment.
Charge d'Affaires at the Zambian Embassy in France, Chris Hilwele, says the mission's participation in the just-ended international and French travel market IFTM Top Racer served as a springboard to formulate innovative strategies to market Zambia's tourism on the French market. Mr. Hilwele says the 45th edition of the Top Racer, which was held in Port de Versailles, France, Paris, created a platform for the mission to forge stronger partnerships with destination marketing companies to better market Zambia's tourism sector. He said the forum presented an opportunity to strategically market destination Zambia, monitor market and consumer trends in the global tourism industry. Mr. Hilwele, however, called for accelerated efforts in promoting domestic tourism, which has the potential to contribute to sustainable development and economic growth. He acknowledged the need to strengthen air connectivity for easy access to tourism destinations. He expressed gratitude to Facility Concept for supporting the African continent to market and increase the brand visibility of the various African destinations. Earlier, IFTM Top Racer Director Lawrence Goborio acknowledged Africa's domestic tourism potential in stimulating economic growth in the region. The premier trade fair for leisure, business and meetings, incentives, conferences and exhibitions, MICE, which took place from 3rd to the 5th of October 2023, was convened under the theme Challenges and Resilience. 34,000 professionals from across the tourism industry attended the event. The focus of this year's event was on Africa, with the aim of strengthening partnerships with leisure tourism stakeholders, promoting economic growth and addressing the needs of the tourism private sector. This is Camnet Television Main News. We'll take a second and final break. We'll have international and sports news after the break.
What if I never knew? What if I never found you? I never have this feeling in my heart.
Are you planning to marry or get married? Contact the Camnet Media team for a professional capturing of your big day in life. Let your relatives, friends and the nation join you in celebrating your big day on television. Just at a manageable fee, Camnet Television will cover and transmit your wedding on your channel of choice. Contact the marketing department on mobile number. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
I give my love to having home.
Get all the latest updates in court news only on Camnet TV. We take you and make you feel part of the court sessions through our in-depth coverage of the adjudication process. Get informed on those who have been arrested, delayed and denied the police bond or bail victims, persons taking plea, court adjournments, verdicts, and those administration issues in the judiciary. Camnet TV is on channel 274 on DSTV, channel 25 on GoTV, and find us on channel 106 on Topstar. You can also follow and give us a like on our social media platforms. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
And now in international news, without its fruits, banana plants are almost useless to the average farmer, even an inconvenience as they must sometimes be uprooted. But can these discarded stems somehow be returned to life? And according to a Ugandan startup that's buying banana stems in a business that turns fibers into biodegradable handicrafts, Uganda has the highest banana consumption rate in the world and is Africa's top producer. Here's a roundup of international news for more.
What Israel is describing as its mighty vengeance on the Palestinian militant group Hamas. Overnight, Gaza has been rocked by explosions. Earlier, warplanes hit several buildings in the centre of the city. The Israeli Defense Forces released these pictures, which they say are Hamas cells being targeted. The Israeli military trying to show they are on the front foot after being taken by surprise by Hamas's attacks. The Israeli Prime Minister issued this warning in a televised address.
All of the places Hamas is active in this city of evil, all the places Hamas is hiding in, operating from, we'll turn them into ruins. I'm telling the people of Gaza, get out of there now, because we're about to take action everywhere with all our force.
This is how the attack by Hamas began yesterday morning. Armed men cutting through Israel's perimeter fence, accompanied by a wave of rocket attacks. Hamas released this footage showing an Israeli tank being targeted. It was a highly planned operation, catching Israel off guard. Israelis who'd been at a rave in the fields near Gaza were forced to flee for their lives.
They were going tree by tree and shooting everywhere from two sides. And I saw many people, people were dying, all around.
Israelis were seen being taken into Gaza as hostages. More than 50 soldiers and civilians are believed to have been taken captive, though some have been rescued or released overnight. The leader of Hamas, which governs Gaza, has promised to end Israel's occupation of Palestinian lands.
We are on the verge of a great victory and a clear conquest on the Gaza front.
In the Israeli city of Sderot, which came under attack, a bulldozer is used to break into a police station where Hamas gunmen were thought to be holed up. The British Prime Minister has described Hamas's actions as cowardly and depraved, a view shared by the US President.
Innocent people murdered, wounded, entire families taken hostage by Hamas, just days after Israel marked the holiest of days in the Jewish calendar. It's unconscionable. You know, when I spoke with Prime Minister Netanyahu this morning, I told him the United States stands with the people of Israel in the face of these terrorist assaults.
This morning, Gaza is shrouded in smoke. Israel says it's cutting off the supply of electricity, fuel and goods to the city. The Israeli military says it has also carried out strikes into Lebanon after shots were fired from the north. And the Hamas attacks have continued. This was Tel Aviv last night. The escalating violence will be discussed today at an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council. Hamas shows no sign of pulling back. The Israeli Prime Minister is warning of a long and difficult war. Diplomatic efforts to stabilise what is the largest escalation in this conflict for decades won't be easy. Simon Jones, BBC News.
A Ugandan startup is unpeeling the power of banana fibers, turning the usually discarded part of the yellow fruit into biodegradable handicrafts. A local startup, TechFad, which describes itself as a waste management group, is now taking advantage of this abundance of rotting stems to extract banana fibers that then turn into items such as hair extensions.
We decided to work with banana fiber because of, number one, the advantage that Uganda as a country has, which is being one of the largest producer and then the consumer of banana in the whole world. Now this leaves us with millions of tons as waste because banana grows once and harvests once. So after harvesting, then the stem is a waste.
The company, which collaborates with several different farmers groups in western Uganda, pays over $2.7 per kilogram of dried fiber. TechFad also takes material from third party to Pande Holding Limited, whose trucks deliver banana stems from central Uganda farmers.
Our contribution in the value chain is that we put extra income in the hands of the farmer. We turn this waste into something valuable that we sell to our partners who also make things that they can sell. We are doing this to create extra income, to create employment for ourselves, and contribute to the industrialization of Uganda and betterment of the lives of Uganda.
Faith Kabahuma from the company's Banana Hair Development Program said all products by TechFad are biodegradable. She further said that the company's hair extensions will soon be on the market.
The problem with synthetic fibers, they do so much clogging. Like everywhere you go, even if you went to dig in the gardens right now, you'll find synthetic fibers around. So it's not environmentally friendly. Now this, compared to this is biodegradable. So it can rot in the soil. It doesn't stop water going through our soil.
Banana production has been rising steadily over the years, growing from 6.5 metric tons in 2018 to 8.3 metric tons in 2019, according to figures from the Uganda Bureau of Statistics.
In our sports news tonight, the Copper Queens have beaten Angola by 3-1 at the ongoing COSAFA Women's Championship in South Africa. The match played at Dobsonville Stadium had the Copper Queens ahead in the second minute through Sarah Jerry, Jacqueline Nkole doubling the scoreline in the 20th minute. Sarah Jerry, making a full debut, came back to grab her brace in the 85th minute to put the game beyond the Angolans, who could only grab a late consolation in the 90th minute through Sarah Luvunga to make it 3-1 in favor of Zambia. The match also saw Copper Queens midfielder maestro Everin Katongo come to the fore, winning the Player of the Match award. The win takes the Copper Queens top of Group B on 4 points, and they will play their last group match against Comoros on Tuesday, 10 October 2023. And still in sports news, Chikankata Member of Parliament Jacqueline Savao has confirmed her commitment to support sports activities in her constituency. Speaking shortly when she officiated at the tournament of local teams that she sponsored, the parliamentarian says sports is key to good health and well-being. The lawmaker says a healthy nation is a wealthy nation. She also stressed that sport is important in helping young people to stay away from vices that undermine their potential to be responsible citizens of this country.
We are watching the sports for both male and female. As member of Parliament for Chikangata, I've come up with an idea of sports in my constituency. Because sports, a health person is a wealth nation. If you have health people, then you have a wealth nation, because if someone is healthy, they are productive. And this is the reason why in Chikangata we are supporting sports. And also sports is very important among our youths, because it will avoid them to go into doing illicit activities, beer drinking and other drugs. So I'm advising my youth in Chikangata that they are very productive to this country. And as a member of Parliament for Chikangata, I don't believe in the saying that youths are future leaders. Youths are leaders of today, because you can't have a bush without small trees. So you are part of development. So for this country to develop, we need our young people to be helped through sports.
To end our news tonight, the headlines once again. LUSAKA'S KAMWALA LURBUMA market risks being closed due to erratic water supply. PF challenged to carry out self-introspection before championing the holding of a national INDABA. Justice Minister MULAMBO HAIMBE says government is resolved to curb costly and lawful prosecutions. In international news, Ugandans turning banana wastes into useful fibers. And in sports news, Copper Queens beat Angola by 3-1 at the COSAFA Championship. Our verse of the day is coming from the book of ECCLESIASTES 11 verse 4. If you wait until the wind and the weather are just right, you will never sow anything and never harvest anything. Thank you for watching Camnet Television and News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Good night.